Thank you for having me.
The last time you were here, we talked through a whole number of fascinating aspects of your story. You talked about artificial wombs. You talked about elements of your background as having been subjected to satanic ritual abuse, government projects, and one of the fascinating aspects that you mentioned towards the end of that. And by the way, for those that haven't already heard part one, you need to listen to part one, like now, and then come back to part two. But we're going to pick up right where we left off.
Okay.
Which is on the subject of being a targeted individual. And you said that, look, I had technology embedded into me when I was in an artificial womb. And that technology had implications. In fact, you went through Morgellons, among other things.
Yes. So
let's talk about the inception of the physiological attack on your life and the various things that you went through and how you believe that was connected to technology.
So it started, my health just really started going downhill. I was always a very healthy person. I barely ever even got headaches.
How old were you when the health started to go downhill?
In my early 30s.
It was early 30s, so you were already married, already had some children.
Yeah.
And, in our last episode, we talked about how they were targeting you.
Yes.
Trying to get you to make a move.
Yes.
You overrode that.
Yes.
And here in your early 30s, now this starts.
Yeah.
Okay.
And from the targeting until when in the technology, it was like within the same year. So it was very quick. When I didn't go back and leave and go back to Reno like they wanted me to, it was bam. Well, this is the next thing that we've got up our sleeve that we're going to do. So my health really started going downhill. First, it started with I would get real achy, and I would feel like knots kind of underneath my skin on my shoulder, and I always felt like there was something there, like that needed to come out. And I would even have Wes look at me and be like, is there something there? Is there something that's got to come out? And he's like, no, I don't see anything. But I started getting spots on my skin as well. And they wouldn't heal. It started on my face. I got a couple. So I went to the doctor. I was like, I don't know what this is. Like, it won't heal. So, of course, she wanted to do labs. And then she was like, well, we'll send you to a dermatologist. The first one they said, was artificial or superficial skin cancer on my face. They just burned it off. But then it came back. They had to burn it off again. And then I started feeling movement inside of like my back, by my spine. It felt like things were like wiggling like around by my spine and in my back, like floating around and moving. And I would tell Wes, like, I feel like there's something in my back. And but there was no explanation for it, so I just kind of dealt with it and got over it. And then I started getting more sores on my arms. It started off kind of slow, but they wouldn't heal. No matter what I put on them, it just would not heal. So my doctor, again, sent me back to the dermatologist. They started doing biopsies on them, the punch biopsies. Every single one would come back as an unknown specimen or unidentified. So it was getting very discouraging because I did not know what was going on. And there was no answers. I started having issues with my gallbladder. I got rushed to the emergency room so they could check my gallbladder because I felt like it was like going to rupture if it did. Of course, they didn't have the machine to do an ultrasound on it, which I am thankful for that because I do believe they would have taken it. And at this point, I'm thankful that they did not take it. So, but I told the nurse not to give me any type of medication because I do not do well with pain medication. It makes me very sick. She did it anyways.
Oh.
And so that was my experience starting right then and there with the medical system. So she did it anyways. I left feeling worse than when I got there. So it just continued to get worse. It was I would have problems with like my kidneys hurting, massive migraines. I would start getting really bad migraines. It was getting to the point where I was sick more than I was healthy. My mother-in-law started getting mad because we were missing family things because I was sick again, to where she thought I was faking it. Oh. Also, like, my problems with my ovaries, like, everything. Like, every system of my body was starting to give me some type of an issue. And then the sores continued. They ended up putting me on chemo for skin cancer I did not have. The doctor that I first seen, she ended up actually quitting. She wasn't there anymore. And at first, when that was happening, I was like, really? What, you're just going to quit when you're supposed to be helping me? But now I know it's her conscience got to her, because they knew exactly what were in those skin samples that they were getting that kept coming up as unidentified.
Can I ask you a question before you continue the story? Have you ever had challenges with requesting your personal medical records?
I actually have never tried it.
Oh.
But we did one time have to get them transferred because all of it is on the military base. But I've never tried to actually get them from the civilian hospitals, like from Reno, or now my dad was easily able to access and get certain stuff for me. Oh. But it's stuff that he just did it for me instead of me doing it.
Okay, back to your story.
Yeah. So I knew that her conscience got to her, because even at one point she suggested giving me like an anti-parasitic cream as well. And I was like, what is she talking? Like, to me, it was just weird. Like, I was just like, what is she talking about? So I did the chemo. Continued to just get worse, more sores. The chemo in and of itself was really starting to break down my immune system even more. That itself almost killed me. I knew I had to quit taking it. And then after I got off of the chemo, I ended up getting cellulitis in one of the spots where I was putting the chemo on the open wounds. So I go into the hospital the day after Christmas because I had I looked like the humpback of Notre Dame. Like, it was huge on the back of my neck, and it was so painful, but I had to push through, and I have a very high pain tolerance. So I was able to push through the pain of that until the next day. The doctor, it was on post. He was really mad that it got that far when I told him about everything. And I had just previously seen the dermatologist the day before, and he didn't care about what was going on. So he made a referral for me to go see the dermatologist on post. And I was so excited. I felt like I was going to actually finally get somewhere, some type of help. I go in to see the dermatologist. Now, I have my whole, my arms covered in these huge sores. And I have the scars all over from it. I walk in, she sees me, looks at me and says, "You're doing this to yourself." And at that moment, I didn't even sit down. I didn't even have a chance to sit down. And I knew right then and there what she was doing. She was trying to get me put in to the psych ward, that I was harming myself.
Oh my gosh.
And I was